Well, hello, friend, and welcome to another episode of Van Life Living in New York. I was just sitting here. I just arrived out here in the woods. Today's Sabbath day, so I'm not working. I'm trying not to. I'm trying to behave. Of course, I have this back and knee injury, which need rest anyway, so it's probably easier than usual to take the rest, right? But anyway, I want you to know that when you look at what Jesus said, right? I'm always telling you to get a red letter edition of the Bible and read what Jesus said and read, right? Because that's the field that Jesus talked about. He said that the kingdom is like a field where you'll dig up a treasure, and when you dig it up, you're going to love what you find. So you're going to sell everything you have, buy the field, and rebury the treasure. With his words, you'll dig him up, right? And you'll love him. And then you'll love this kingdom that you find from doing the things he asked and building your house on a rock. So you'll sell everything you have, you'll buy the field and rebury the treasure, and you'll rebury it right here in your heart, right? And then he'll be in your heart. So that's the way this works, right? I'm just telling you the truth. So I'm having this kind of day where this morning I was not feeling really dandy, even though I wasn't feeling bad, but it didn't mean that I lost the kingdom, because I lose the kingdom when I start letting my thoughts go to the places I don't want to go and cause me suffering, especially when I allow them thoughts to actually create actions, and then when I start sinning. But I see my actions in thought as the real problem, right? Because if I don't get my control of my thoughts here, then I'm going to end up sinning out here. But what I didn't really recognize, friend, and most of you probably don't, God is omnipresent. Do you know that every time you have a bad thought, he's watching you have a bad thought? He knows you're having it right then. And did you know that if you believe that Christ died on the cross for you, because he died to give you forgiveness, you can take that thought, whatever that thought is that's going to cause you suffering, and ask God to come and sit with you with that thought and show you how to overcome it. Did you know he'll do that for you? That's what Jesus said, isn't it? Jesus told you that the Holy Spirit would testify to you about him. You should get to know him, right? And if you believe him, if you believe that's true, that you can sit with God with these thoughts. That's how I get through them nowadays, friend. Because I know that if I don't give them to them when they're a thought, I'm going to hide my thoughts. And I'm going to pretend I'm hiding my thoughts. I'm not really hiding my thoughts. That's the foolish thing that we as human beings do. We think that we can actually hide our thoughts from God, right? That's the reason Adam and Eve hid in the garden and hid themselves behind the leaves. They were trying to hide from God, right? You can't do that. It's actually a lie. We lie to ourselves about that. And that's the reason that, Christ had to come and die for us, so that we would stop hiding our thoughts. So you, my friend, have the ability and right to stop hiding your thoughts from God. When you have a bad thought, just take it to him. Be like, Lord, see this? I need help with this, right? I'm just not lying to you. It happens to me all the time, friend, and that's how I quit ending up in the same position I always ended up in before. Was I share my mind with God all the time now. And just today on one of my videos, when I went to check one of my videos, somebody came on there and said, well, you don't know whether you're talking to God or not, and blah, 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 blah. They don't know Jesus at all, right? Jesus told you that you're going to be able to have this relationship with him that other people won't understand. I don't expect anybody to believe I talk to Jesus, but I'm willing to die in order to live. And whenever I'm in question about something, if he really wants me to do it, he gives me a way of showing it to me. I'm telling you right now, God is amazing, and he will do miracles in your life. He will. I'm just not lying to you in the least. But you have to expect it, and you got to be willing to die in order to live. So, to be quite honest with you, what I'm doing for God, this is, as you know, I'm the spirit of Judas. I've told you. Nobody will believe it. I really don't care. You don't need to. Understand that. You don't need to. There's only one reason I have to tell you about Judas, and that I'm Judas, is because the Jews need to understand that they got Yom Kippur, and that Jesus and Judas created Yom Kippur. Jesus took his bread and he dipped it in the sop, which was representing the sin and slavery. And then he handed it to Judas, and when he handed it to Judas, it said Satan entered into him, because Satan wasn't there to begin with, right? You can't, got it? Okay, so then Judas said, not me, Lord. And Jesus said, go do what you must do. He cast him from the lot. He cast him into the wilderness. Now, my father's a lawyer, and I know Christians don't understand that, see, because they don't get to know Jesus and they don't get to know the Bible. They go listen to these serpents that are talking with half tongues. Friend, I'm not even smart enough to explain the law to you 100%. But I can tell you right now, those 10 commandments you ought to be thinking about and be inviting in them. And you ought to be thinking about putting my father's seal on your forehead, because he told you you're going to wear my father's seal at the end of the age. There's a period of grace, but come on, friend. Why not abide in the 10 commandments? Why do you think my father wrote 10 commandments in stone with his finger and put inside of the ark? Come on, friend. Stop listening to these other people tell you lies. You get down with Jesus. Jesus told you those that teach to not follow those 10 commandments, that they would be least in the kingdom. But those that teach to follow the 10 commandments, they would be greatest in the kingdom. Do you want to be the greatest or the least in the kingdom, friend? Because if you're going to go around breaking the laws, you ain't getting into my Father's house. Christ died for you, but come on, did you even get to know him yet? Right? And you're going to say, oh, well, the people in the Middle Dark Ages didn't have to. Well, they didn't have the Bible because the Pope stole from them. Why do you think God waited till now to judge everyone? There's things going on in that Bible that the church just isn't getting. Right in Revelation, it told you right in the church to Philadelphia, to he that overcomes, I will make a pillar in the temple of my God, and he will go no more out. Do you understand that statement? You should go meditate on that statement. Don't ask me to give you the answer to it. Go really meditate on that. Does not again, isn't that what out no more means? So Jesus is telling you in Revelation that you've been leaving the kingdom, and if you overcome, you will have to leave no more? Does that sound like an eternal hell? Does that sound like a contradiction in terms to what the church is saying? But I'm going to tell you something. You need to go to God to get these truths for yourself, because you're not going to believe them from me. And some of them, he shows me one thing and not the other. I just don't believe in eternal hell. I never did. That's against God's character. You tell me he's loving and you say he's going to punish people for eternity. That makes no sense. It never made any sense. It still doesn't. I couldn't follow a God like that. But I found plenty of other people that actually don't believe that. And now, is there a law, and because you don't abide in it, that you're going to pay your debt at the end of the age? Absolutely. That's the Father's justice fair. There's justice in all this. It's fair. It's just you don't see it, and he can't show it to you, because if you understood it, then there's a lot of people right now that are in the churches, the pews in the churches, that are only in there because they don't want to go to eternal hell. And so therefore, their thought of Satan stays in line because of their fear of hell. Right? Their thought of the serpent, it's in their head, wanting them to do things to hurt people and be selfish. There's a lot of people that go to church that never really got to know Jesus, don't care to know Jesus. They just want to not go to hell. That's what they want. They want to avoid eternal suffering. So was it so bad that my father let them deceive themselves? No, it was not. Because that will keep them from hurting you. And you can't rise in the spirit of the law if they won't at least maintain the law. And the spirit of the law is the spirit of love. So you can only rise in the spirit of love when the law is being maintained. So those of you that chose Christ over the world are rising in the spirit of the law, which is the spirit of love. You're doing the things he asked. You're out feeding the hungry, clothing the naked, visit the sick and in prison. You're loving your neighbor as yourself. You're doing the things he asked because he asked you to do it. Because he told you, why would you call me Lord, Lord, and not do what I ask? And if you don't know that he said that in this Bible, then I don't know why. Right? And I'm not here to talk about salvation the way people talk about salvation. To me, the church makes absolutely no sense. I'm telling you that God made rules. If you don't want the kingdom here, you don't want to listen to me anyway. I get people on here that get upset with me because there's like, oh, well, that's not what you need for salvation, friend. If you don't want the kingdom that he promised you here, don't listen to me. Hang up this video. If you don't care about getting the kingdom here, if you don't want to find love, peace, and joy in your life, then I'm the wrong guy to listen to. Because even though I'm not perfect, and even this morning I was having doubt, this is what happens. This thought, the serpent in my head, because it's there all the time, waiting. It's up there just waiting to take a shot at me when my faith gets weak. So if I leave my house empty, the demons are going to return and bring friends, because that serpent's going to call them back, right? And they're going to get in, right? And so I got to be careful of that. But God has made so many miracles in my life that there's just no way there's not a God. But you know what happens? If I'm not focused on God and I get focused on the world, all those things that he's done in my life will start dissipating from my head, and that serpent will remind me of all the things that are not of that, and then I will start losing faith because I've got my mind on the wrong stuff. If I'm not thinking about Jesus, I'm thinking about the world. And if I'm thinking about the world, the serpent's going to get in control of my head. That's just the truth. He's a half-tongue wiggler. Some of you call him Satan, some call it ego. Some people call it the id. I don't care what you call it. That sucker is evil, and it wants to talk you into believing that you're God, and there is no God, and that God's not going to take care of you. If you believe there's a God, and you don't believe he's going to take care of you, and you're scared, you don't know Jesus very well, right? Because Jesus told you, be not afraid. The Bible's most popular statement is, be not afraid. So it's really about getting to know Jesus and doing what Jesus asked. It's really about getting to know God, because he will let you know him in a way that's just out of this world. But I will be quite honest with you. Here's some of the things that goes on. I did promise my father a death in exchange for my life, but he uses that. So when he's asked me to do things like that protest march to Washington or stand against the courts in Virginia against the corporations, and when he's done all these different things he asked me to do, when he asked me to talk about a publicly traded corporation being the thought of Satan made flesh, which it is, because it is nothing but a set of laws on paper. They don't even exist, and America gave them the rights of United States citizens. And now they are your masters, and your politicians are their slaves. Yes, your Supreme Court, Citizens United versus the Federal Election Commission, sold you into slavery. And because you all love your selfishness too much, you're not going to save this nation from itself. So you're going to let yourself perish. I've tried to warn you, but nobody listens. Everybody's like, well, there's nothing I can do about it. So you just take you and your children and you run off the cliff like a herd of buffalo. But don't you blame my father, and don't you tell me that you're getting a seat in his kingdom after you've let your children get murdered because you're more worried about selfishness than you are love. What? If you've heard me, friend, you know the truth. You've got some accountability coming. You're going to answer for it on the last day. Why? Because my father said you were gonna. Jesus told you that don't build up your treasure here where moths and rust destroy, but store it up in the secret place, which is with God in the kingdom. See, God wants you to love your neighbor as yourself. So why would you store up a lot of money and have all this stuff while your neighbor's starving to death in the trenches out there, right? So you should be more worried about loving your neighbor as yourself than you should be worried about going on these long extended vacations and being selfish. Now, you can call me whatever, and I'm not saying that you shouldn't, but I sure hope that God told you to do that. Did he? Are you in relationship with God? Because Jesus told you the Holy Spirit would testify to you about him. That's the reason I couldn't succeed in the business I had for 14 years. Because everything I wanted was in direct conflict to what Jesus said I should do. And so I was always torn between the world and seeking the kingdom. And I wanted to know God because I hated this world, even though I wanted to love this world. Because I've always been a selfish man. I've always wanted things that weren't right. I've always been selfish because I had a lot of trauma in my childhood. My idea of fun was drinking, drugs, sex, selfishness, which always leaves suffering for other people. And I would ignore what I was doing. I had it all justified in my mind, friend. You might be a Christian and have this all justified, but that's because you don't know Jesus and you didn't get to know him yet. But you don't want to wait till the last day because you don't want to get his judgment. Last day you get judged by his words. It told you that right in here in John chapter 12. In fact, let us just go ahead and read this so that you might understand. Okay, I'm going to start at John chapter 12, verse 44. And then as you can see, this is a little section of the words in red, right? So I'm reading to you Jesus' words. Jesus cried and said, "He that believeth on me, believeth not on me, but on him that sent me. And he that seeth me, seeth him that sent me. I am come a light into the world, that whosoever believeth on me should not abide in darkness. And if any man hear my words and believe not, I judge him not. For I came not to judge the world, but to save the world. He that rejecteth me and receiveth not my words hath one that judgeth him. The word that I have spoken, that I have spoken, that I have spoken. Do you understand that? The words that Christ had spoken, the same shall judge him in the last day. The same shall judge him in the last day. That doesn't say that Paul overrode Christ. That told you that Jesus himself said it was his words that were going to judge you on the last day. Do not be fooled by these Pharisees lying to you. These Christian Pharisees are sucking you up for your money, friend. They're not interested in your salvation or you finding the kingdom that Jesus said was here. And most of them, because they went and got degrees from men, they don't even know the kingdom's here. They were completely taught not how to listen to Jesus. They said, oh, Jesus wasn't talking to you. They are liars and thieves, friend. Don't you ever listen to them. They'll steal your kingdom right here. Friend, if you're like me and you were doing drugs and drinking and doing all that stuff and you were hateful, my Father will forgive you your debt and he will bring you out of the hole, but you got to come out into the light. And he was telling you how the kingdom is like statements are about the kingdom here. This is not about a kingdom somewhere else. That is liars and thieves lying to you. Jesus did say to you that the Father's house has many mansions and he went to go make a place for you. But while he was making one for you there, did you help make one for others here? Did you leave everybody in darkness while you chose selfishness over love, and then you're going to ask my Father for a seat in his house, and while his other children have to suffer because you chose selfishness over love? Friend, make some logic of this Bible, friend. Please, if you're going to say that you love Christ, get to know the man. Love him for who he was. He sacrificed himself for you. Are you willing to sacrifice nothing for others? That's what he asked of you, friend. Every day he told you we must pick up our cross and carry it daily. Have you picked up your cross today? Do you even have a clue on what your cross is? Have you got to know him so that the Holy Spirit could testify to you about him and therefore testify to you about what it is he wants of you? If you don't know what your cross is, why don't you? How are you going to bear the cross he gives you if you don't go to him to get one? He said, be glad I go to the Father. Because I go to the Father, the Spirit of truth will come to you, friend. And even though what he told you is true, even greater truths will you be given. Is he a truth teller or a liar? Please tell me. Please tell me that you think he's the truth and the life, not a liar like the church. The churches have become quite pathetic. I'm not here to glorify churches. Judas came to condemn the church, right? So I come to act as your adversary because you won't act as Christ's companion. You're lying to them. You've got these preachers. I don't even want to go into the names. I don't usually name people. But you got all these prosperity gospels. These preachers driving around in private jets and living in mansions. Friend, they should be ashamed of themselves, and they've got a long-suffering way to go. Jesus told you to those that didn't know any better, they'll be beat with few blows. But those preachers, they knew better. They're going to be beat with many blows. You can take that to the bank. Because who else would Jesus be talking about if he wasn't talking about lying serpent Pharisees that are stealing money from you while they're leaving everyone starve? Oh my goodness, if you can't think of like 5 preachers right off the top of your head, then I guess you've never watched television. These folks are disgusting, friend. They aren't anything Christ-like. Now who? They tell you God wants you to be rich. That isn't what Jesus said. He said, don't store up your treasures here, but God will give you everything you need. Don't store it up and don't build new barns to store up all your new wealth. Go get to know this man. Follow him. And if God tells you to store up some wealth to help others, that's wonderful. Then go do it. I've seen a camel go through the eye of a needle. I'll be quite honest with you. That's how I found the kingdom. This man caused me to finally become willing to die in order to live. I mean, there was other people who were bringing me the kingdom, but we all bring each other the kingdom. I'm trying to bring you the kingdom, but you might barely hear a word now, and then somebody else might say something, and the kingdom will stack up on you, and before you know it you'll become a follower of Christ because you heard me along with a bunch of other people. But this man was like one of the ones toward the end he forgave me a debt that he shouldn't have forgave me. And he was so much like Christ. I was like, that's it. I want to know. I hate this world, because I did. And I traded my life for his. And he was one of the ones that caused me to do that. But it was a lot of people that changed my life. And that's the way this works. Not one person takes another person to a kingdom. We all go on to the kingdom, one on the hand of the other. So if you're not holding on to somebody's hand and somebody's holding on to your hand, well, then maybe you're not on your journey to the kingdom, are you? I hope you get what I'm saying. Because, like, I'm the wilderness goat, right? Spirit of Judah, so I'm out here in the middle of nowhere, kind of pretty much awaiting death. But that doesn't matter, because I come on my video to give you the truth of love and the love of truth. I want you to go read what he said and do what he asked. I don't care. Go to church, and there's some really wonderful people in church. But don't spend your time with the ones that are out doing all the fun things where they're spending money and glorifying themselves, because they are sons of Satan, sons of selfishness. You go out and you find the ones that are out feeding the hungry, clothing the naked, and visiting the sick and in prison. Those are the ones you want to know. They have the kingdom. They built their house on a rock. You'll find them in the trenches. So if you're not willing to become less selfish and choose love over selfishness, then you're never going to find a kingdom, and you're not going to find the people that have it. Because other than a few of them like me that are called into the wilderness to rile you all up, most of them you're going to find out actually helping people. They are in absolute joy loving others that didn't have any love. You don't understand how joyful that was. Me, who hated myself, that lived in hell in my mind all the time, Gehenna, state or place of mental suffering. I did what Christ asked, and I started loving those that didn't love me, those that were hungry, naked, and all that stuff, and on drugs. And because I loved them, they loved me. And then I got to give God a credit. I didn't then. I was still selfish, and I was in mental health and learning stuff. And I'll tell you, I didn't do this right from the get-go. I'm just outright being honest. I've screwed this up the whole journey. But I keep finding the kingdom. I lose it today and I find it today, because I choose God again. Every time I start getting afraid or getting uncomfortable in my own skin, I got to run back. That's why I spend so much time coming out here into the parks, to get away from people. I got to come out here and be like, Lord, I need you to take my thoughts, because my thoughts are wretched. And he does. And he gives me new thoughts. And there's nothing more joyful than me talking to you about what he's done for me. That always brings me joy. Right? So the kingdom comes from testifying. If you would testify about Christ, your life would change. I don't know how to explain this to you. But you got to have something to testify about. Are you doing anything? Have you read what he said and did what he asked? Have you built your house on the rock? Or at the end of the age, on the last day, is he going to say, why did you call me Lord, Lord, and not do what I ask? And you're going to be, but Lord, you gave the thief on the cross, the kingdom. You weren't nailed to the cross, friend. You had the opportunity to do the things he asked. You have the words in red. The thief on the cross didn't know what he said or any of that. Do you get that? The thief didn't know anything. How long have you been a Christian? Do you have a Bible? Could you read Jesus? You can get them online for like literally the cheap small ones. Red letter edition for like $3 or $4, friend. I'm not lying to you. Go get online and go get some cheap little red letter edition Bible. I give them out. I give them away. But it's not because I got any money, because I don't. But I have a couple guys that have been sending me Bibles. And then they send me boxes of them, and then I try to give them out. Right? And that's what I do. I want people to know Jesus. Me talking about Jesus isn't the way to do it. Because I might not say what you need to hear. But you know what you need to hear? What this man said. Right there. Those red letters. He's going to tell you the kingdom's here. You are going to start off tiny. Your kingdom is going to start off tiny as a mustard seed. And if you do what he asked, don't tell me 20 years from now when you've never done anything Christ asked that you never turned into a mustard tree because you chose selfishness over love. Now, if you want to become that mustard tree and have this great kingdom, then you have to do what Christ said. You start off tiny as mustard seed, and in this faith, you start doing the things he asked. You start applying his sayings and putting them into practice. And your house will be built on a rock, and your love will grow and grow, and he will turn you into a mustard tree that is so big that you'll give shade and rest to your neighbor, like the mustard tree used to give shade and rest to the birds, right? That's what he's talking about. You don't want that, then you don't want my Father's kingdom. If you don't want love, you don't want it. I don't know what else to tell you, friend. It's only for people that want to become the spirit of love and hang out with other people and love one another. If that's not what you want, if you want it to be all about you and not about other people, there's no place for you in his kingdom. The spirit of the law is the spirit of love, and the spirit of love is what you want to become to enter the kingdom. It's not about perfection, but you got to be heading that way. My Father knows your heart. He knows every thought you've ever had. Have you even tried to give up your thoughts to him? Have you read his book and applied his sayings? Have you ever noticed that he told you to give your gifts in secret? Have you ever went out and tried to give your gifts in secret and seen how that worked over time? I did. You know what happened? I kept giving it up. Satan would come along and condemn me, and then I would tell on myself to get the credit. And then later when I'd go to call and feel like better because I did something, he'd be like, "Oh, you're still a piece of crap. You took the credit." He's a snake, man, and he's in your head. I'm telling you, he is. You got a serpent in your head. He's a half-tongue wiggler. Always telling half-truths. He's been doing it ever since the garden, and he's still in your head. And if you don't know he's in your head, that's because you've been listening to lying serpents lie. You've got all these prideful preachers, man. They fall from pride. Notice I don't ever want you to think anything of me. I look pathetic. I look like a wilderness goat because I am a wilderness goat. Love me for nothing. Just love my Father because my Father's worth it all. And his firstborn and only begotten Son. I'll die for them any day of the week. They call and I will answer. I've got no strength of my own, but they'll give me the strength because he promised he would. So whatever he needs, he's going to get because I'm going to give it to him because he is the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. There's no one like my Father. And my Father's your Father. And he knows every thought you've ever had. So if you think that the words of the Son, which you clearly heard him say, that right there, that because you saw him, you saw my Father, because you heard him, you heard my Father, and it was his words that are going to judge you. It's just like he said where he was talking to Philip. Don't you know me, Philip? Because you know me, you know my Father. Because you've seen me, you've seen my Father. So the exact same words are in another spot in the Bible. So you can know that the preachers that tell you that Jesus was talking to the Jews and not you, they're liars, they're serpents. They listen to serpents. They get degrees from men. They get degrees from men. But they're really serpents getting degrees from serpents. They don't mean to. I forgive them for they know not what they do. They don't know any better. They never applied Christ's sayings. They don't know diddly about Jesus. They only know what men tell them. This is a relationship between you and God. Never let me get in the middle of it. It's you and God. These red letters, get to know him. Apply his sayings. I promise you, you're going to end up with a greater kingdom. If you believe him. He's told you you're gonna. I mean, do you believe him? Is he the truth? If he's the truth, then go find a greater kingdom. But don't listen to somebody else tell you that it's somewhere in your death. BS. That's for those that are seeking it in their lives. James told you faith without works is dead, right? Jesus said that he's the vine, the Father's the gardener, you're the branches. And that if you're fruitful, he will prune you and make you even more fruitful. But at the end of the age, the dead branches, unfruitful limbs, dead limbs, are going to get gathered up and thrown into the furnace. So James said faith without works is dead. Dead limbs gathered up, thrown into the furnace. Got it? I don't care what other people say. You go get to know Jesus yourself and see if that's grace alone. They're so full of lies. All of them. They get taught from snakes. They'll probably crucify me for it. Somebody will come for me. But you know what, friend? Jesus said, he who saves his life will lose it. But he who loses it for my sake will gain it. I don't want to lose it, but I sure want to gain it. And it's not only that. I was with my Father in the beginning. And after that, I know nothing and I know everything. All at the same time. I know why he creates. Because he wants to know love by experience. And by golly, if nobody else will do it, I'll love him to death. Till to my cross because he's worth it. And I don't know how to explain it. There's no way to define God in the beginning. But he took me there. I was here, and then I was there, and then I was here again. And I'm telling you right now, he's worthy, and you will not steal his creation from him. I will destroy this dragon of yours. I have come to do it. I am the son of Satan, escape position, coming to take the dragon home. It's going back to the abyss from where it came. I hope you're preparing for that, friend. It's just the truth. And I'm declaring it so that you have time to do something. If you think I'm a fool, you're going to be the fool because you're not going to get prepared. Get to know Christ and read the words in red. Have faith in him. Get to know him so that when things go wrong, you can walk with him in faith and in courage because he'll give you faith when you've got none. I've got no faith, no courage. I'm a coward. Been a coward from the beginning. And anybody that's ever listened to half of my videos knows the truth. I've told you over and over again. Not lying to you about any of this. Just get to know Christ because I'm going to tell you right now, the dragon's coming down. As Christians realize what they've done, that they're sacrificing their children on the altar to their corporate gods, they're going to realize their father ain't going to let them into heaven. Are you kidding me? A Christian nation is going to do this and you don't think this is Mystery Babylon? Friend, you're delirious. You better figure out that if my father judged the first fruit for it, he's going to judge the second fruit. They didn't give Satan flesh, you did. But they still worshiped false gods. What did he do? He shut them down and sent them off to Babylon. What do you think's going to happen here in America, friend? The walls you build to keep them out will be the walls that keep you in. That my father told me in 2008. I'm telling you, I'm absolutely expecting that prophecy to come true. I just don't know when. I've given you all the things that are going to cause that in this nation, but I can't tell you when it's coming or prove to you it is. But you should look. What's the odds of me being right? If you've got the Cascadia fault line, San Andreas fault, and the New Madrid all coming due about the same time, fault lines. Do you think, oh my goodness, Lord, I've warned you, and you've got Yellowstone sitting between it all. Do you have a clue? I hope you know Jesus. That's all I'm telling you. Friend, I love you because my Father loves you. That's it. I don't tell you this to scare you. I tell you this because I want you to get ready. The hour is coming, and it is quick approaching. If you can't see it with AI coming on board, that someone is about to give breath to the image of the beast, and who's going to build it? The thought of Satan made flesh will, of course. Pure selfishness. No man would have done... I've been listening to the professionals say that there's an 80% chance that AI is going to kill us all. No human being with children would say, let's take an 80% chance of murdering my own children and then take a shot at it for 20% chance of getting utopia. Friend, if you're willing to murder your kids for a 20% chance of success, you're pathetic. That's the truth. Then you want the darkness. It's not my fault, friend. It's not my father's fault. This is your decisions. You're too scared to even stand up against the corporations that are killing you. They're doing this to you. Your stocks have become your bonds. So sad for our children. That's the truth. That's why people don't listen to me. That's why they hate me. Because I'll tell you the truth. You want to act like it's not your fault. Sure it is. It's all of our faults. All of us are responsible for this. We all look the other direction while the corporate elite destroy our world. Who are you going to hold accountable? My father? Not Satan. If you were following Christ, you wouldn't be storing up your treasures here where moths and rust destroy. You're gonna enjoy all that right through the darkness if you don't think twice, friend. I'm just telling you. I just hope you all wake up and start smelling the coffee. I'm not saying that you got to go fight the corporations, but use Satan against himself. Go take their money and go feed the hungry and clothe the naked. They're trying to kill everybody. At least try to save them with the money that they're trying to kill them with, because they're stealing from you. Your government has gotten caught. Doge showed you everything, and there's nothing but cowardice left in America, friend. We should have been in the streets, but nobody wants to be in the streets because everybody wants to keep what they got. I don't know what to tell you, friend. My father's going to make the answer for this when AI comes about. You will take the mark, most of you, because if you don't have the courage to stand now, you're not going to then. So you might as well accept that because you let it come, your kids are going to accept the mark. That's what's happening. Y'all don't want to think about the truth. This truth isn't just going to hurt you, it's going to hurt your children. Your offspring are going to take that mark and be unwelcome in my Father's kingdom. Do you understand that? If you don't stand up against this thing now, and I'm not saying fight. Friend, I'm planning on dying. I've been planning on dying since the beginning. I don't plan on killing, just dying. You need to nail somebody up, here I am. I'm my Father's wilderness goat. Christ died for his people, I'll die for mine. But don't look for me to be anything. I'm a counterfeit Christ. You only needed one son on the altar. You already got him. Christ was the altar goat of Yom Kippur. He was the Passover lamb. He came to represent the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. He did them both. His blood saves. Mine does nothing. But because I love him and I love my Father, I will not deny them. And he told me, Jason, take down the dragon. So the dragon's going down. Whether you understand that or not, whether you think I'm a crazy old man in the wilderness, the dragon's coming down. Because enough of you are going to see the truth, that there's no way God's going to allow you into heaven after you yourself buried your children in the abyss. Because if you can't love your children, how can you love your neighbor? I'm a stepdad. I did it all wrong. I was a drunk. I'm telling you, when I'm telling you I'm the son of Satan, I'm just not lying. The son of selfishness. I repented, and my Father received me. But because of my debt, and my debt from before, of betraying Christ, I had a job to do. And here it is. But I also have a loophole in the law. If you notice, there was when Satan got passed into Judas, well, guess what Satan was not allowed to do to Job? He wasn't allowed to kill him. What did Satan do to Judas? He killed him. Does that leave a loophole in the law? My father is a lawyer. Do I have a loophole in the law to speak the truth and do what I'm supposed to do? I don't need to judge you, friend. These words already did. You just needed somebody to have enough courage to come here and tell you the truth. Because your preachers, they don't have any courage, friend. They're hiding under rocks. They want you to like them. I don't care whether you like me, friend. You can hate me. You love my Father. He's the King of the universe. He's the Alpha and the Omega, and he is love. And I will speak the truth so that my Father doesn't have to. Do you get that? You aren't getting exactly what that Bible's saying, friend. I'm wearing my Father's crown, and I'm riding a white horse. He don't have to judge you, friend. I'll judge you. But I can't judge you because I'm not without sin. Get it? So all I can do is tell you that Christ's words already judged you, because that's what my Father told me to do. And then he told me to tell you the dragon's coming down and that I'm supposed to go full-fledged on the field. Last year when I was so scared I was going to come off the field, I said, Father, I need you to show me that this is really what you want me to do. And the next day I went out hiking in the woods in the middle of winter along a lake, and there was a fisherman where there's never any fishermen because of winter, and he gave me a sling. So my Father gave me a sling and told me to go slay Goliath. Goliath is coming down. I'm not going to my Father calling him a liar. There's just no way. If you've seen the things that my Father has done for me, I'm just writing down about how God talks to me all the time, and he doesn't do it like in, oh, well, I can't prove it. He has proven to me that it's him talking to me. Proven it outright. I can't prove it to you. He set it up so that I'll never be able to prove it to you. It's kind of crazy. In fact, my mother had a dream the last time, a long time ago, when I was really at my wit's end when I went all in for God, and I was about to give up. I really was. The next day, I went out for a walk with God, and I said, God, if you don't give me something now, I'm not going to be able to make this. I said I'd go all in, but it's gone all wrong, and I need to know that I'm still doing your will and that this is what you want me to do. And my mother woke up, and she came out of her bedroom, and she said to me, Jason, I don't know why, but I had a dream about you last night. You were sitting along the river, and this woman was yelling that you were going to drown and kept yelling you were going to drown. And along come the conductor, and he said to me, don't worry about Jason. I'm enjoying the conversation. So I asked my mother, I said, well, who's the conductor? And she said, well, I don't know who the conductor was. He was just the conductor. So I immediately received the interpretation of that dream because the Holy Spirit gave it to her so that I'd know it. So Satan, or the serpent in my head, was the woman screaming, I'm going to drown. It's trying to always get me to get away from the water of life, right? To leave God, to not do what God asks me to do. It's always trying to deceive me. And then along came the conductor, which is God, because he's the conductor of all things, right? The Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. He told us the end and the beginning, right? So he is the conductor. So my father said he was enjoying the conversation with me. So my mother told me that God told her all this in a dream, and I knew how to interpret it instantaneously because it was for me. God, when I need something, God gives it to me. But the thing is, I can't prove to you about that dream. And my mom, that was a few years ago, and she has like dementia, so she doesn't even remember having that dream now. So I literally have no proof that she had a dream that confirmed the truth for me. And my father, who also knew the dream, he passed away, right? So I have no witnesses to that dream, just like everything else in my life. My father set me up. He told me he was going to from the beginning. I can't prove this to any of you. You have to make a free will choice to choose Christ over the world. And it really has nothing to do with me, except for if you heard me, you can make a new choice now. But if you don't make a new choice, you will pay your debt. If you're going to say you're Christian and then you're going to be selfish and make it all about you while your neighbor suffers, and you don't become a fruitful limb and you're a dead limb, you're getting gathered up and thrown into the furnace, the end of the age, and you're going to pay your debt, just as Christ said you would. Never been a liar about that, friend. Never been a liar. These Christians just didn't tell you the truth. You receive the kingdom by grace, but the only way to keep it is to give it away. If you don't want the kingdom bad enough to give it to your neighbor, then my father doesn't want you in it. Because what are you going to do when you get in that kingdom? You ever thought about that? Have you ever actually looked at what the Bible said about this upcoming kingdom? Do you realize that there's a statement in the Old Testament that was talking about, and you tell me the Bible's true or it's not. So you guys take a few scriptures and then bury yourselves with lies. That prophet said that if people didn't come to Israel to pay their tribute, that a famine would come upon their land. Does that sound like only people that were Jesus lovers and there was going to be no sin and nobody was going to make any mistakes? Does that sound like that? No, it sounds like they're already getting threatened that if they don't show up for Christ, they're going to have a famine in their land. Do you understand that? There's all these things that are in that Bible. It told you that everyone had to give one death in the Old Testament. So you tell me Enoch and that Elijah got out alive. So you know that because the Bible said everyone gives one death, they both have to come back and give a death. Now you know that Jesus said that John the Baptist was Elijah returned. He said it twice, and people call me a liar all the time, but it's right there. Jesus said it. And Elijah said that he wasn't, that he was one crying in the wilderness. And I don't have memory of being Judas, but I am Judas. And I am also one crying in the wilderness. Make straight paths for the Lord, because he is coming. And if you can't see the coming of it, I don't know why. The Euphrates River is drying up, friend. Do you understand Scripture? Do you understand the 4 angels being held under the Euphrates and the Euphrates River is drying up? You are running out of time, my friend. I please go look at all the things that are coming to pass. Anybody that doesn't, you can't not believe in God unless you just don't want to follow the rules. If you look, there's just too much proof. The Bible. Go look at my Proof of God playlist. Look at it with an honest heart. Look at it with true sincerity. And then if you don't think they're telling the truth, you spend the time figuring out all the codes they figured out in that Bible. Figure out whether they're telling the truth or a lie, friend. God is. And because he is, I am. And because I am, he is. Even though he will be without me, but I'm nothing without him. Because he created me for himself. That's it. I've got no other purpose. What do you want me to do? Let you steal his creation from him? Create a false god to worship? The hell you will. They miscalculated, these corporate elite. They're going to go into their underground arks that they built. And they're going to pray for death, and death won't come because it told you so right in the Bible, friend. They never should have done what they've done. And if you're one of their children, do not go into the arks with them. You will not come out alive. My Father will make you pay every bit of debt for that. You worship Satan, you're going to pay Satan's price. Friend, I hate telling you these truths, but they're the truth. So if I was you, I would get to knowing those 10 commandments. I would start rising in the spirit of love, which is the spirit of the law. You don't even have any interest in rising in the spirit of love? Then just get the hell over it. You've got hell to pay. If whatever you're willing to do to your neighbor and let happen to your neighbor while you're glorifying yourself, like Satan himself is doing, the serpent in your head talks you into glorifying yourself. Everybody says pride is good. No, it's not. It's of Satan. And if you ain't willing to face that at this moment, what did Jesus tell you? Please go read him. Please go read why he was going to line you up with the goats. Don't listen to anybody else tell you. I'm not going to tell you because somebody else will tell you different. They won't tell you the truth. You go look up the scripture where Jesus told you that he was going to line some up with the sheep and some up with the goats. And you read that whole piece and make sure you pay attention to he said, I was hungry and you didn't feed me. I was naked and you didn't clothe me. I was sick in a prison and you didn't visit me. You go tell me that's grace alone. Then go tell your preacher to tie his tongue together and stop speaking like a serpent about grace alone. Once saved, always saved. But if the demons return, if you leave your house empty, the demons are going to return and bring friends. Once saved, always saved. You all are snakes. I'm outright saying it because you're lying to people. These are the things your king said. He's either the truth and the life or he's nothing at all. You can't say he's the truth and the life and then call him a liar. You ain't entering his kingdom. I can't believe you'd want to. Friend, I'd never call my king a liar. The only thing that it looks like I'm calling him a liar about, where Jesus said, to he that overcomes, I will make a pillar in the temple of my God, and he will go no more out, which means not again. So that one is in contradiction with where he talks about the worm that won't die, right? So there's a couple things he said to contradict, but that one is in Revelation, to be revealed. These were back here and a little harder to interpret because they're also to keep you from just letting the law fall. A lot of you Christians are going to be disappointed. You're not ready for the kingdom. You had no interest in it. You still don't. You just thought that if you listened to these liars lie, that you could enter a kingdom without ever thinking about what you're doing. And that is not how you have a relationship with God. You get to know him. He was the Word made flesh, right? So if you don't eat his flesh, word, and drink his blood, spirit, you will by no means enter the kingdom. Another statement of your king. Please go read what your king said. And if you're not interested in finding the kingdom here like I'm talking about, and finding a greater kingdom right here, and actually getting in relationship with my Father, because I'm telling you right now, he knows every thought you ever had. Whatever thought you had 5 minutes ago, he knows it. So don't act like he doesn't. Every thought you've been having, and while you're not thinking of him, he still has to think of you because you're in him. All creation is in the Father. Jesus told you, I'm in the Father and the Father's in me. And then in the beginning of John, it says, all of creation was made through Christ, and without Christ, nothing would be made. So that means there's the Son. The Father's in the Son, and the Son is in the Father, and all of creation is made through Christ. That means you're in the Father too. Get it? If there's only God in the beginning, where did he put creation? If he was all there was, how did he put it elsewhere? You're not getting how great God is. He's way beyond your comprehension. And when I was with him in the beginning, I can't even, to speak of it, it would be blasphemy. But I'm telling you, everything you ever thought, every decision you did in the dark, thought you were sneaking around, my Father's seen every last one of them. Every woman you ever thought about defiling, he knows it. Every woman you did defile, he knows it. Every trashy word you spoke about his daughter, my Father knows it. Do you get that? I hope so. It's time to get baptized. It's time for some repentance going on, friend. Why not? Get to know Christ. Choose love over selfishness. Seek the kingdom. Find joy in it. There's joy in it. I'm telling you there is. Even though I sound like I'm not joyful at the moment, I'm not joyful that I just had to say all these things that are going to make a lot of you want to crucify me. But I'm going to be in joy when I'm done because you know who says all these things? My Father does. Because he said, when you go before your judges, don't think about what to say, and I'll give you what to say at that very hour. I don't have the courage to say those things, friend. I've told you I'm a coward from the beginning. My Father talks for me. Now, if I'm wrong about something, I don't even care. I don't want you to believe me. I want you to believe Christ because Christ already gave it to you. You don't have to believe me. That's the point. But I'm telling you, I do this for my Father, period. There's no other reason. I do not want to die any more than you. I don't have to want to die. I just have to be willing. Christ didn't want to die. He was just willing. The apostles, they didn't want to die. They were just willing. All the people that have ever become these saints that died for others, they didn't want to die. They were just willing. So stop thinking that you're supposed to want to die. You're not. You're supposed to get in a relationship with my Father that is so intense and so great that you will follow him, and then you'll look courageous even though you're a coward just following Christ. That's what those men were. They weren't nothing. He told you, only those that have little will overcome. Those that think they have a lot, they'll never submit to my Father. They're too busy submitting to themselves. Glorifying themselves with pride. Don't do it. Get down on your face before the Lord and say, I am nothing. It is you, Father. Since I am in you and you're in me, I give you everything so that I can have a better life. And you'll have one. Friend, you know what? Here's the absolute truth. Because I am so little, it means I'm not better than anybody. Jesus said I'm the least among you, right? So he was the least for selfishness, the most for love. I'll never be as good as him, but I'm trying to head that direction, right? But what that does is Satan can't put me down because I'm not climbing the mountain of pride. I mean, sometimes I feel less than because, people look at me funny because I do have to act and look like I do, which is fine by me because I really love my Father in this relationship I have with him. But sometimes Satan gets in my head and starts to be like, oh, well, you're not good. I don't care whether I'm good or not, friend. My Father's good. Satan, he's not good. He's a liar and a thief, and he's a serpent in your head. Stop listening to him, right? Now, I heard another guy talking about Satan was actually an adversary and that he's not. So maybe the serpent and Satan are two different things. See, y'all get this way confused. You just got to follow Christ. And then you'll be able to put your foot on Satan's neck. The serpent in your head, you'll put your foot on its neck. Because then you'll know that you really believe in Christ. And when it talks to you, you'll say, shut up. You'll say, I appreciate you're here to give me free will, friend. But you know what? I'm not following you because you're going to cause me suffering and cause other people suffering. And then I'm not going to enter my Father's kingdom when I want to. So just don't listen to that serpent. Know that my Father sees every thought it says to you, and you have an opportunity to deny it and choose him over that. And then when you choose Christ over Satan and God over the world, well, now you're serving your purpose. And you, the Father, and everybody gets to know love by experience. And that is the purpose of the world, is to come to know love by experience. And I can't get anybody to believe that unless you do. But that's the problem. If I Once you see my Father in the beginning, you'll understand. But before that, you will not understand. Free will requires a dichotomy, a divine plan, die two, vine fruit. Within creation is the fruit of two vines. Free will only exists because there's two choices. So God knows your love because you have two choices. And when you make the one called choosing him, he knows your love by experience, which is really just knowing his own love through you by experience, because my love is his love. So that which he gave to me, I'm just giving back. He's getting his own love back, and it gives him the experience. Because in the beginning there was only God. How could he love himself if he was the only one? He couldn't. So he created us. And we get to let him know love by experience because we have a free will choice. But he didn't force us. He put the fruit in the garden, and we eat it every day. The fruit is selfishness. We all eat it, friend. Don't blame Adam and Eve. You're eating it. You're not going to be perfect, and Christ came and died for you. He was the only solution to this problem. He is the solution to the problem. He is the most amazing thing. And my Father's so brilliant the way he laid this out, friend. He put down a law so that he could cure it and bring you home. But until you understand love, you'll never understand the law. The law makes no sense unless you understand the love and the purpose. And for a man that wasn't smart, it wasn't easy for me to figure this out. And my father hid it from me. The scales did not come off my eyes for years. I'm not lying to you, but I had a debt to pay, and I had something to do. He had to let me ride through hell so then he could teach me how to get out by following him, and that the kingdom is like statements. I mean, I went into a psych hospital and became trained in mental health. You understand that Jesus' message is truly a psychological message. Anyone that truly understands psychology and goes and does what he says will understand that Jesus was greater than any psychiatrist to ever be on this planet. Y'all that are doctors, you can't touch this man. This man brought you a kingdom far greater than you'll ever be able to get your clients to get. What? Oh my goodness. Y'all are telling them they're broken. They ain't broken. They just got to quit being selfish, ignorant pricks like I was. That's the truth. I hate to say it, but it's true. If you're going to be me, poor me, you ain't getting out of here, friend. You ain't getting the kingdom. The kingdom comes from love. Love is sacrifice. Anybody that you know that really, truly loves you is because they sacrificed for you. You know Christ loves you because he sacrificed everything for you, friend. And he asked all of us to do the same for one another. And remember, you don't have to want to die. You've just got to be willing. Get in relationship with him and discover a new kind of love. Something worth living for and something worth dying for. Because if there's ever been one, he is it. And he is in me. I would live and die for him. I don't know how. I'm a coward. Scared. Don't want to. Don't even want to tell you because I'm afraid you're going to take me up on the offer just for saying it. Do you get what I'm doing? Do you get I don't want to? But you don't say to my Father, yes, and then say, I changed my mind. Your yes will be yes, and your no will be no. And I said, yes, Father, I will go for you. So wherever he leads, I go. If it takes me to a cross, or to a fiery or watery grave, if it comes with extreme suffering or a painless death, it's his to give me because it's his decision, not mine. I gave him my life and my death. He has it all. It's his to do with as he will. He just knows I'm a coward, so he has to do it for me. I told him, I said, I'm a coward and you know it, so you might have to steal my life like a thief in the night. I said, I give you permission now. If you need to kill me, if you need to snatch me up before I can run, you just do it, because I'm giving you permission now. Whatever you need for your kingdom and to bring as many of your children home, you do whatever you got to do to me. Because every one of them are just as worth it as me, because if I'm worth anything, then they all got to be worth the same. So every last one of you, the world hates, or even those of you that hate yourselves, I love you anyway. And you're worthy because my Father said so. I don't care. If you say that you're not worthy, you're a liar. You're listening to a thief and a serpent in your head. Stop. Find Christ. Come home. Choose a greater kingdom. But be ready. You want love? You got to be ready to give love. You want forgiveness? Got to get ready to forgive forgiveness. He's asking for it, friend. But it'll be a wonderful ride, and you'll have this kingdom right here. And then you might be doing weird things like me, where I'm 1 minute sounding like I'm on fire, rah, 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 and then all of a sudden I'm like, woo, I got the kingdom, friend. I don't know how to explain this to nobody. I told you I'm a fool for Christ. That's the absolute truth. I am a fool for Christ. I love you because my Father loves you. May God bless you and yours.